In a frozen corner of Siberia, in 1869, a child was born who would one day hold an empire in the palm of his hand. His name, Grigori Rasputin. A peasant. A mystic. A man who defied death itself. But who was he, really? And why did the most powerful women in Russia fall at his feet, even as he reeked of filth and sin? Rasputin was no ordinary child. Born into a peasant family in the backwater village of Pokrovskoye, he never learned to read or write. They called him a thief, a troublemaker, but some whispered he had a gift, a spark. They said he could look into your soul and see your darkest secrets. At 18, everything changed. Rasputin joined a strange group called the Khilisti, a sect that believed you had to sin to get closer to God, sex, drinking, ecstatic rituals. He embraced it all and called himself a holy man. But what was the source of his power? Was he a prophet or a fraud? And why did women, nobles, peasants, even nuns begin to follow him, drawn to his strange, magnetic energy? In 1903, Rasputin arrived in St. Petersburg, the glittering capital of Russia. He didn't belong. He looked like a beggar, smelled like a barn, and spoke with a rough peasant accent. Yet, somehow, he charmed the elite. Church leaders invited him to their parties. Nobles whispered his name in awe. 2 years later, in 1905, he met the Tsar and Tsarina, Nicholas II and Alexandra. Their son, Alexei, was dying of hemophilia, a disease that made him bleed uncontrollably. Doctors were helpless. The Tsarina was desperate. Rasputin prayed, and the bleeding stopped. No one could explain it. Was it a miracle? Hypnosis? Or just blind luck? The Tsarina didn't care. She called him a saint, a miracle worker. From that moment, Rasputin became untouchable, and the mystery deepened. But Rasputin's power wasn't just over the Tsarina. Women across Russia became obsessed with him. They waited outside his home, begging to see him. They sent him letters, some with naked drawings of themselves. One woman even kept a lock of his filthy hair as a trophy. Why? He was repulsive, his beard crusted with food, his robe stained, his body unwashed. Yet, he had a line that worked every time: sin with me, and God will love you more. He told them their sins would purify their souls, and they believed him. Even their husbands didn't object, they thought it was holy. But what was the secret behind his hypnotic charm? Was it his wild confidence, his dangerous aura, or something darker? By 1916, Rasputin's influence over the Tsarina had made him enemies. He was picking government officials, meddling in the war, and throwing wild, drunken parties. The nobles had enough. On a cold December night, they invited him to a dinner and poisoned his wine. But Rasputin didn't die. They shot him again and again. Still, he lived. Finally, they threw him into an icy river. When they found his body, water was in his lungs. He had drowned, fighting to the very end. Rasputin's death didn't end the mystery. Some say he foresaw his own murder. Others believe his influence brought down the Russian Empire itself, as the Romanovs fell just months later. Was he a holy man, a manipulator, or something else entirely? Grigori Rasputin remains an enigma, a man who rose from nothing to control an empire, only to die in the shadows. His story reminds us that power, mystery, and danger can be a deadly combination. What do you think he was, really? Want to dive deeper into history's greatest mysteries? Subscribe and hit the bell for more.